And our lead this hour does come from the greater Buffalo area, Orchard Park, New York, to be exact. An AFC matchup between the Bills and the Steelers. This game not expected to be much of a contest, as Buffalo was favored by a comfortable margin at home. The Bills, the darlings of the betting public, both to get to a Super Bowl and also the People's Choice Award winner for the MVP, Josh Allen. Well, Pittsburgh, with the final scene, supposedly, of Ben Roethlisberger's career this year. This would be the final act for Roethlisberger as they began anew. And not a lot of hype for the Steelers this year. Not a lot of anticipation that this is going to be a memorable Steelers season. But it certainly got off to a surprising start. If you did not watch it, if you missed it, T.J. Watt, just days after getting the mega millions contract, had not one but 2 sacks. He forced a fumble and a partridge in a pear tree in his first game after signing that $112 million contract, not all of that guaranteed over 4 years. The extension made him the NFL's top-paid defensive player, and he lived up to that contract in this game. And the defense keeping Josh Allen at bay, keeping him in check. Now, Josh Allen is among the players that got paid a ton of money as well, and he got paid that money based on 1 season and really had a tough day at the office for Josh Allen. And the Buffalo Bills got shut down on 4th down, the first 2 possessions of the second half, as that set the tone, and the Steelers able to come all the way back. They rally and get the win. Someone named Miles Killebrew. I like the name. It's a good name, Miles Killebrew. He blocked a punt. That led to a Pittsburgh special teams touchdown. And the better story here, though, is in the losing locker room. And it is all about the dismal play of the MVP candidate extraordinaire, Josh Allen, who played like a lightweight on this particular day, certainly not anywhere close to the player he had been a year ago. So let us discuss, how concerned should the Bills brass be with Josh Allen after that performance against the Steelers? So on the Maller scale of concern, 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest level of panic allowed, I'm at a 7.5 on the Maller scale of concern. I'm at a 7.5. So my view is you've got Cinderella, Madonna, and dunce caps. And we'll connect all of these things together. Now, first of all, Josh Allen had what I would describe as an ulcer-inducing performance. Now, this game was in my rotation. I had a financial stake invested on Pittsburgh, so I was happy with the outcome. But the Bills brass, they had gone out and said, you know what, this guy is the dream quarterback. We finally found the great quarterback, first great quarterback since Jim Kelly back in the 90s, and they rewarded the blood, sweat, and tears of Josh Allen with a winning lottery ticket. We all know the story. This is his first game action since signing a $258 million contract. And the early reviews are, cover your eyes bad. Cover your eyes bad. Josh Allen was not only a quarterback, he was terrible in large stretches of this game. And is Josh Allen back to being the guy that he had been before he had the epiphany? Did he make a deal with the devil? Is this a Cinderella special? And you say, well, it's just one game, but is it the beginning of something? We won't know for some time. But did the glass slipper, like in Cinderella, turn back into a crappy shoe at midnight for Josh Allen? Was this recidivism? All right, we've all been warned about this. I had mentioned it several times. One of the reasons I was not on the Josh Allen choo-choo train was because of the regression to the mean. Historically, Josh Allen, to be better than he was last year, or even as good as he was last year, would have to break the mold. Quarterbacks that suck and then have a breakthrough season normally take several steps backwards the following year. And on this particular day, Josh Allen was the scattershot quarterback that he had been before that breakout season of last year. Allen attempted 51 passes. He only completed 30 of them. 30 of 51. 270 yards. He had a touchdown. He had 44 yards on the ground, but 21 incompletions. That matches the second highest total in his 4 years in the NFL. And he had, you saw the game, there was a play that really sums up the afternoon for Josh Allen. Early on, he had Emmanuel Sanders wide open for what would have been a really sexy touchdown throw, and he overthrew Josh Allen, overthrew Emmanuel Sanders, and it was just sloppy. The word is sloppy here. Careless with the ball. He puttered around, fumbled twice, lost one of the fumbles. Josh Allen did. Now, secondly, many people associated with the Bills are circling the wagons around. They're working overtime to downplay this performance, attempting to wax eloquent as they minimize the level of stinkage that Josh Allen was on this particular Sunday against the Steelers. It's only one game. It's not his fault. Plenty of games left. No panic. Don't listen. It's all that stuff. They're deflecting. They are deflecting is what's going on here. Now, Josh Allen was absolutely verkakta in this game, as my grandfather taught me when I was a kid. Unacceptable. The Pittsburgh is projected to be a fringe playoff contender. Does anyone disagree with that? That in a division with Baltimore and Cleveland and Cincinnati, that the Steelers, they are going to be around 500. If things go right, they'll be a little bit above that, but they're not going to be a dominant team this year. And that defense has some name brand players, clearly, but they've also made some changes on that defense, and you figure that there's some working out, there's some nuance to this, and yet Josh Allen, he's the MVP player. He's the guy that came out, he's going to be the cat's pajamas and all that, and the Steelers were the ones that were doing the Madonna. They were striking a pose, right? Strike a pose. That's what the Steelers were doing on defense. And Josh Allen was below par. In fact, how bad was he? Old man Ben Roethlisberger outplayed Josh Allen in the fourth quarter, and in some aspects, in some respects, overall. Now, Roethlisberger had a quarterback rating of 126 in the fourth quarter. Josh Allen was at 86. But one of the big statistics is negative plays. Now, if you're not familiar with that, bad plays are considered for a quarterback interceptions, incompletions, sacks, and fumbles. And a very easy metric to figure out who's going to win, who's going to lose, the quarterback that makes the fewer bad plays, their team has a distinct advantage and wins the vast majority of the time. Now, on this particular game, in this day, Ben Roethlisberger had 17 total bad plays. Interceptions, incompletions, sacks, fumbles. Allen, who's much younger and supposedly in the prime of his career, had 26. That's a +9 advantage in favor of Pittsburgh, -9 for Buffalo. And typically the quarterback who makes the most mistakes loses. And that's what happened here. Buffalo managed just 16 points. That matches their season low from last year. And they scored one touchdown and 3 field goals. That's how you get to 16 points. And they had a bunch of drives that went past midfield into Steeler territory. 8 of the 11 drives crossed midfield. So they were matriculating the ball, and then they got across midfield, and they only scored 3 times, so we know what happened. The other 5 drives fizzled out after that. Now, final thought. So while Josh Allen does deserve the lion's share of blame, he is the $258 million quarterback. Buffalo has plenty of dunce caps to pass around. The Bills' defense, which was really good for 30 minutes, and apparently they shot their wad in the first half because the check fuel light was flashing on the dashboard. It was pulsing there. Halftime adjustments went to Mike Tomlin. Right? Mike Tomlin and the Steelers made the halftime adjustments. Nothing's changed more in my lifetime. Pittsburgh was anemic. They only had 53 total net yards and no points midway through the game. It was a swarming defense, stopping the passing, stopping the running game. Najee Harris, the first-round pick out of Alabama, he had 7 carries for 8 yards on the ground in the first half of the game and was horrific. Ben Roethlisberger was averaging less than 5 yards per attempt, 4.7 midway through the game. And then the Buffalo Bills, at halftime, they went in, they had a glass of chocolate milk, they took some stupid pills, and it was the parting of the Red Sea. The Steelers put up 199 total yards in the second half after putting 53 up in the first half. Outscored Buffalo 23-6 after halftime. And the Bills finishing with 8 penalties for 81 yards. Lot of brain flatulence to go around. Now, much like with Josh Allen, the question is asked, is this just a one-off performance or a sign of things to come for Buffalo defensively? The way they looked a lot poorer in the second half. They sure played like a team that was comfortable and thought that the Steelers would just get into the fetal position and start sucking their thumb. I think it was like a 10-0 game at halftime. Buffalo had the lead. So are the Steelers back, though, to being a threat in the AFC? Does this game give them some cachet now that they are back? I am going to shake my head no that the Steelers are back. This game was more about Buffalo than it was about Pittsburgh. Roethlisberger made some more plays than Josh Allen did in the fourth quarter, but I'm going to have to see more performances similar to this from Pittsburgh before I am ready to write them at a higher position on Big Ben's big board. So I'll give them credit. Right? At least they showed that they are not going to be pushovers, and they came out and they competed in the second half, and that's great. And it's going to be ugly with Ben Roethlisberger. He is on his last legs. These are the type of games you're going to get from Roethlisberger, and you're going to have to be able to win these games and hope that he can just put together a string of 3 or 4 good drives in a row late in the game. Because you can't expect him to be that bad in the first half, but you can also not expect him to dominate